how's it going?
Good.
Good.
I'm Eladio.
I'm Nikki. This is On Second Thought.
Let's not go to Camelot.
Let's not go to Camelot. We have a fun subject this week, I think, because it's kind of close to my heart as somebody who's worked in surgery for over a decade. But we want to talk about amputations.
Okay, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah, it's a lot better now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was horrifying at one time, and it still is. I mean, this is a life-changing procedure for people, but at least they don't have to go through the trauma of having their leg cut off while they were awake.
Well, I live this. This is actually hits home for me because
Okay.
I live this nightmare all the time.
No.
I'm a diabetic, type 2, and we get neuropathy all the time. And if you don't take care of your diabetes, you can
Yes.
totally lose a limb.
Yeah, and
So-
that is the majority of the amputations I was part of
Yeah.
were because of diabetics, toes, feet, legs. But, we also have our traumatic amputations from car accidents,
Yeah.
or I had one poor gentleman who got his hand stuck in the auger out at the salt mine.
Ooh.
So, yeah, there are things that can happen besides a medical, disease or disorder or deformity that would require amputation.
Right.
But I guess we should probably do a disclosure now that this
Yeah.
is going to be pretty graphic, and if this is something that might, traumatize you, hey, we're going to get graphic here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So pre-warned, it's not going to be an easy episode to swallow.
Yeah. But we thought about going from, antiquity to modern day because it is something that has developed significantly, but it's just really been around forever.
Yeah. The first time I heard in history about any kind of medical, not necessarily amputee, but like brain surgery
Yeah.
or dental work, was through the Aztecs and the Mayans, and then it led into the Egyptians.
Yeah, yes. In my research, I did see a lot about the Egyptians, but there was, archaeologists did find a skeleton of a Neanderthal going back to, 31,000 BCE. And it was a young man, and he had, it was a leg and an arm, and they could tell, just by the bone healing that this was something that happened, before death. It was an amputation, and he survived it because the bone did have time to heal. And I think they were able to discover from his bone that he had some kind of deformities that probably was the reason why he had to have these amputations.
So, like cavemen, I was thinking about this. They were probably, well versed in this only just because they saw their relatives, siblings, friends die of gangrene and something like their arm got crushed by a rock, or maybe a living dinosaur when they were walking the earth.
Well, and I'm sure they had to deal with a lot of traumatic
Yeah.
amputations, and I'm sure the majority of them didn't live through these experiences, whether it was traumatic or their physician or whatever
Did they
person
have a
in there.
doctor back then?
Right, like who was the person and what did they use? Do I want to know? I mean, was
Did
this
he
like
have
sharpened
a bag?
rocks?
Yeah. Did he have a bag full of tools?
It was like Fred Flintstone, in his bowling bag,
Yeah.
and it was like that. It was made of, saber-toothed tiger skin.
Right.
Yes, Laudio, that's exactly what it was.
That's what I'm picturing right now. So.
I like it. You're going with it. So ancient Egyptians, there's evidence of them practicing amputations and surviving. And they, at this point, we've moved past rock and they're into metal instruments that they're able to use.
Right. Would that have been bronze?
Yeah, probably. It says it just says metal instruments. You're probably right. Something like bronze.
Yeah.
And that they would use honey as an antiseptic.
Nah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. I mean, they
so-
tell us to use honey for local honey to cure allergies.
Yeah, it is a natural antimicrobial. And they would use like wooden prosthesis. Like they have evidence of them having wooden toes, like finding mummies
wow.
with wooden toes.
Man, I wonder if they actually moved or it was just a block.
Or they probably would, I imagine, it would probably was like a strap. You would kind of strap it around the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, losing a big toe can, affect balance and stuff.
Oh,
And you're
yeah.
talking about
That's-
back then
yeah,
when they're wearing
that's like one of
sandals
my
or being
fears.
barefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you take care of yourself, and
I try.
you know. But we're so lucky now that we know this stuff. You know,
Yeah,
that
modern medicine's great.
you can do things to help so that nightmare doesn't come true for you.
Yeah, no, yeah. Modern, I solely believe in modern medicine.
Yes,
so,
because I don't want to experience this stuff.
I mean, trial by fire. That's pretty
Yes.
much how I assume from ancient times to modern times.
Yeah, and figuring out and that is a good point, you know, because as it moved into like the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, they got into understanding like ligating vessels. So they would, before they would take like a hot iron or something to burn these severed vessels to cauterize them, stop them from bleeding.
Yeah.
But then the French started using ligatures or tying off these vessels, and that helped so much so that they say that during war with the French, that the other side, if they had a traumatic amputation, they would go surrender to the French side because they knew their doctors were better.
Yeah.
They knew they could survive them, you know, amputating their limb better than they could if they went to their own surgeon, you know, battlefield surgeon.
That sounds a little familiar.
Yes, yeah, we do see,
Yeah, that does sound a little familiar. I mean, I did watch Predator, and anytime anybody got hit by the Predator, the lasers, they got cauterized.
Yeah.
They, you know,
they'd hold them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. or like the lightsaber.
Yeah,
you
the lightsaber would be a great amputee.
Yes,
I mean,
it would cauterize.
Imagine?
It would cauterize.
Like, take my arm off.
Isn't that a scene? Isn't that the scene in the cantina? That he,
yeah. With the tarantula face.
There was no blood.
And the pig nose dude.
Yes.
That was in there.
Yeah. Spoiler, we're Star Wars fans. Sorry.
Oh, so sorry. If we reference Star Wars more than once in the episode, my apologies.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. And so moving on to really where a lot of, I think, we think of amputation in America is the Civil War. I think it was like 2 out of 3 soldiers had an amputation during the war. You know, you had these.
Did you see those tools? Those tools were very crude.
Literally just a saw, like a handsaw.
Yeah, just what you would cut down. You'd see, like, it's like the inspirational saw that you get 2 guys on the end of a saw. It looks like it's
really
horrifying.
Just like cutting down a tree.
Yeah. I'll post a picture.
So these, so these men were coming home. You know, there was a time when there was just a lot of Americans after the Civil War that were amputees because of just the battlefield trauma, and just like a lot of things in medicine and especially surgery, this gets developed on the battlefield. You know, they're learning new techniques in the moment. That's where embalming started.
Oh my God.
You know, you're talking about plastic surgery comes out of, you know, war. Even like my profession as a surgical technologist came out of war times and the importance of sterile technique. And the war really drives medicine, drives the modern discoveries.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I did. So not just a little off subject, but there was a kid inventor that apparently invented a blood absorbing tissue. So like if somebody got shot in a war zone, you inject this little tissue in there and it blows up and it
I wonder if that's like we call like kind of like a quick clot, or we call it like Surgisil. And we have Surgifoam. It's kind of
so you don't bleed out.
Right. The best way for me to describe it, it's like the stuff that's inside of a diaper, and I know it's not that. But it does that. It'll expand and just absorbs. Will absorb the blood, and it'll be like, you know, a hemostatic agent. Yeah. So that started.
I had nephews and nieces.
So everybody can kind of, if you describe it that way, everybody's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
They had dirty diapers. Gross.
I mean, I read a book. It's called The Butchering Art. Great book if this is something that intrigues you, you know, the development of surgery and aseptic technique and modern day anesthesia. If that's something you're interested in, check that book out. I cannot remember the author, so we will throw a picture of the book up for y'all, so if you're interested. But it's called The Butchering Art, and it talks a lot about Robert Liston, and I know we've talked about this in the past, that he developed the Liston amputation knife, It looks like a long butcher knife, and we discussed it when we talked about Jack the Ripper, that there was some
Yes.
talk that was what was used.
Right.
We still use it a lot today. A lot of the surgeons like to cut through the muscle with the amputation knife, but use a saw to cut bone. So it's one of those instruments that's, even though we've developed, if it ain't
So-
broken, don't fix it, people still use it.
Not to step on off subject here, but before you get amputated, there's always like an anesthetic, right?
Now,
Now, what was it back then?
well, when Robert Liston's now he wasn't a doctor as we know him today, or a surgeon. There was no medical school. You just kind of trained to do this, and this was his
trial by fire.
yes, and this is what he was good at. He was good at amputations, and he was quick. But when he first started, this was before ether. Ether would have been our first real. There were other ways of putting people out, but used in the.
So ether's like the one where you see in the movies where they come up behind you and they.
I think that might be chloroform.
Oh, chloroform.
So with ether, they would put like a mask,
Okay.
and they could drop some of it, and they would breathe. And that's actually still today. You see images of in surgery where they have the patient draped out, and they will have it kind of come up towards anesthesia, like over their head. We
Okay.
call that an ether screen, because
Okay.
one of
I've
the
seen that,
problems
yeah.
with ether is when you're using that, there's a potential that it's not just going to put the patient out, but it's going to knock you out too. Breathing in these
Oh, like
fumes.
the people that's around? Oh,
So they would
that
have a
sounds
screen,
dangerous.
so that you weren't breathing that in. But really, when he first started operating, ether hadn't been discovered yet. That was discovered by a doctor named Morton, and he he was a dentist, and he really developed that.
How much later in the time period was that?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but it was during his practice, because he did eventually start to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then at this point, in the beginning, it was really just holding them down.
You got
And
the wood block in the mouth.
right. So, yeah, put a belt or leather
Yeah.
in their mouth, hold them down. And that's why he wanted to be quick, because he didn't want his patients to suffer. They say that he could amputate a leg in 30 seconds. He would actually come into the, it was like the surgery theater, like you see on TV where you have, or you think Seinfeld with the Junior Mints episode.
I'm just picturing a samurai.
Yeah, so you have like this huge, looks like an arena really, and everybody's looking down and watching.
Like in a Werewolf with Benicio del Toro.
Okay.
There were doctors in there.
Yeah, it's probably the
So,
same thing.
The same period.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And they're all, these are students or even just like onlookers who are curious, that they didn't have an understanding that this was
Kinda like a
bringing in
Dr. Frankenstein.
contaminations. Yes. Yes, this is truly like Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
And really, I think the same time period.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
that's what I'm picturing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And so he would walk in. They didn't understand germ theory at the time. So you're not scrubbing in like we do now. You're not changing your gown and glove, or probably wasn't even
is
wearing
this,
gloves.
I'm assuming this is post Black Plague, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
This would have been like the late, like the
early-
19th century. So like we're talking
Okay.
like 1800s,
18
really about
1890s,
the same
1880s.
time that Jack the Ripper is out there
Okay, yeah.
in London. Robert Liston is doing these, and yeah, he'd walk in. He took pride in that he would have blood all over his apron. He wouldn't change his apron. He'd come in with the patient before him's blood all over him, and he would
Sounds like
say,
a horror movie.
"It is truly like reading the book, The Butchering Art." There were people that survived and gave their account of this. Just reading it is the stuff of nightmares. Like the one really sticks with me. It was a 12-year-old boy, and he was recalling as an adult the experience, and
yeah.
just like
Some
as a
PTSD.
child, yeah, and terrifying. But yeah, he would say, "Time me, gentlemen," and he would really kind of just want to beat his record. He wanted to get it done fast. And because of this, he's the only surgeon with a 300% mortality rate from one of his. Yes.
That sounds like a Guinness Book of World Records.
I think it might. Yeah, that you don't want. You don't want to be known for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the patient died. He nicked his assistant, and his assistant ended up dying from infection. And then an onlooker was so. I think that it was like when he went with the knife and nicked his assistant. It also nicked the coat of an onlooker, and they were so freaked out that they thought they had been cut that they died of shock. So he had 3 people
Holy
die,
shit.
300% mortality rate.
Died of shock.
Died of shock. Had just a heart attack right there, I guess. And
So I have seen like experiments like where they show documentaries like I forget the one test they did during the Philadelphia experiment where they were testing people for mind powers back then.
Yes, yeah.
They had a name for that. I can't. God.
is it when they're like what is it called? Like I want to say, is it ESP or
ESP, but
yeah,
there
like
was
moving
there was an actual file for it. It had a name, but I'll post that and post edit.
Yeah.
But either way, they would act like they would, you know. The ESP guy would be blinded or whatever, have a wall in front of him, and they'd have his hand out, but they'd have a fake hand next to it, and they were, you know, messing with it, and the guy would feel the same pain through that. So that's what it's kind of like reminds me when you said he died of shock because he thought he was cut. So it was. Like,
because
it's like
your
the
mind just
your
goes
mind
there.
Your mind goes there.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I find that very interesting. So.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up because it kind of goes into another strange thing about amputees, which doesn't happen so much now because we have better techniques, but you know, the phantom limb syndrome.
Oh,
where,
yes.
you know, if they don't get that nerve amputated back far enough, they'll start to feel like they're still experiencing pain in an area that there's just no leg or arm there anymore.
So in the industry I'm in, I know a guy who does the same kind of work I do, and he was a very bad diabetic, and it started with a foot, it started with a leg, and now it's his other foot, and he's still working. He's wearing prosthetics.
Yeah.
And I asked him, does he ever feel pain? Or he goes, I feel tickles.
Oh, yeah.
He says he feels like his feet are getting tickled.
That's
in
interesting.
bed.
Yeah, and that happens so often where what starts off as like a below the knee amputation then becomes, you know, it starts off with the foot and, you know, you're just right below the knee, then you're above the knee, and it just is. And I had a friend who it was actually a traumatic amputation, but they told me that when their prosthesis, it would get sore, you know, like pushing against that plastic or polymer, whatever leg prosthesis, it would start to get kind of worn and sore, or chafed, and it would be very uncomfortable.
So I play local music, and one of the jam pads that we shared with another band, they made prosthetics in there, and so we'd get to see the legs, the feet, the hands, the arms,
and it's just incredible how far it's come. And you know, now it's like they have ones that can be manipulated by nerves and sensory and all of this bionic stuff. You know, you have
I've seen that, like where some people got 3D printing, they can make their hands and stuff, and
or the prosthesis for like the Olympians. You know, they're runners. It's incredible.
That blows my mind.
But Liston did end up being the first to use anesthesia. It was in 1846.
Okay.
So he practiced from he was alive from 1794 to 1847. So he only got about a year. So the majority of his career, he was just lopping these limbs off without anesthesia.
Man, I change windshields for a living, and we do a lot of windshields, and I can only imagine like how he got his form down for cutting, because you know I know how to cut out a windshield really quick and really fast, and pliable. So I can only imagine him with that same kind of technique.
You're just good at what you do.
He knows where to chop.
He knew exactly. And he had done it so much, and I don't know if there's any record of how many amputations he had.
Wow.
It'd be interesting to know. But
do you think he just like called up towns and said, "Hey, do you got anybody?"
Yeah, I don't know. Like, because you would think that, like, if it were me, you would just have to drag me in there.
Reach out for two.
Yeah, possibly, because you'd have to drag me in there. I'd be like, no, it's fine. 'Tis a scratch.
Yeah, 'tis a scratch. I'm not quite dead yet.
You see him referencing, Camelot again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that was a terrifying period of time, and luckily now we have modern techniques where, like I said, we still use the Liston amputation knife. We use your regular scalpel, battery powered saws, which are very similar to what you use.
Those saws.
They're very similar to what you use, in your garage. It's not much different.
So there was a channel on cable TV probably 20 years ago that I actually stumbled upon, and they were showing knee replacements, shoulder replacements. And they brought out the toolbox. I was like, shit, I think he's using a Snap-on hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, they really, and that's what we always say, like ortho is construction of the body. Orthopedic surgery is construction of the body. And when I, I'm teaching my students about amputations, I will show them this video because I feel like if you can get through this, you can get through about anything. But we do have, again, it's not something that is used very often. It is still in use in the OR. Here and there, but it's called a giggly saw. And let me...
Oh my God, that doesn't sound good.
Let me describe this thing to you. Yeah, nobody is giggling with this thing. So it's two pieces of wire that are twisted together like twine. Okay.
Yep.
On either end, they have a loop.
Okay.
Okay, and then you have these two hooks that you put on into those loops, and you go under the limb and using friction really fast back and forth until it saws through.
So, reference back to my job, we call that a wire tool.
So you can understand how crazy this is, right?
It's the same concept.
Yeah.
To cutting out like a glass on an automobile. So, yes, we're getting modified.
How great is that we can understand each other's jobs?
Yeah.
Based off of this, our tools are so similar.
And I will contest when I used wire back in the day. It would get super, super hot really quick, and it would sometimes melt the wire before you even got
that's an interesting point to make, because you can cause bone necrosis from it getting too hot. So that is probably some reason why this isn't used very much. They're going to use your power operator and get it done real quick. We're not going to, risk necrosis.
I mean, if there's a battery powered steel that we can use to get this done quick, I'm going to go for that.
Yeah. You want to in and out, and now we know to create like a muscle and skin flap to cover, the bones so it's not, rubbing. We have all these like modern, things that we've learned because of these guys, that from BCE.
Yeah, isn't that why they call them practices?
Yes, they get to practice. And who knows what's going to come, 20, 30 years from now in this. This is something that we're going to have to, amputation is never going to go away. This isn't something that you're just going, we're always going to have traumatic amputations and things like that. We can help with disease, but there's always going to be a need to sometimes amputate a limb.
I mean, I understand, and I feel like that's going to be set for more of the rich, because I feel like they're going to make video cameras or whatever, those 3D, what do they call those things? The kids
the Oculus. Or
the Oculus, yes. They're going to make Oculus, and you could be, 800 pounds and only be a torso and a mouth, and
like when we're all in the Matrix.
You're living in the
it's not going to matter if we have limbs or.
Oh well, just take my arm, take my leg.
Ready Player One, like that. Yeah, it's true.
I'm just a torso in a room where some people come and take care of me every once in a while.
It's incredible. Yeah.
No, I just feel like that's where we're going.
Yeah, I think probably quicker than we realize with this AI stuff, and it's getting
it's not going to matter if you got a leg or an arm or digits on your hand.
You could just live through, something else.
You got all your friends and everything.
And
online.
Artificial. You're probably right on. I mean, they've been telling us that since WALL-E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I mean, you've updated me on a lot of things that I did not know, and informed me on some of the things I did know, but better. So, I feel like this was a great episode. I really dug it. If you like this kind of content, just please let us know, because by liking and subscribing us, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, or we won't. do it anymore. But it's kind of up to you guys. I mean, I guess, or actually, it's kind of up to me and you.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
Too bad.
Too bad.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.